a little bit NXT. Oh wait, before we get started, I gotta say this about Raw. Honestly, I'm gonna say this about Raw. I watched it. I watched Jacob submit to being a lackey. I watched all of it. The Seth Rollins match with Braun Breaker was good. No problem with there. But like I've been saying, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. Honestly, the show just isn't good. It isn't. Right now, we have Jacob Fatu, who shouldn't have been put in that situation in the first place, where he had to lose not once but now twice to Roman Reigns. Now he loses. We have the MSTs watching it. And now we're going to have a story that feels so repetitive. Because I do agree with I do agree with JD. This feels like a Sami Zayn story in Saga. I don't want to see a Sami Zayn story in Saga. I said this from the very beginning when they brought back that bloodline. This was not going to be good. Because, as I said before, if you hadn't heard me say it, you look at years ago, nearly 4 years, you had the bloodline. And then for most of the part, on top of it, you had Judgment Day. And no matter if the stories were very good or not, they were the focus. You got Judgment Day, and you had the bloodline. It was as simple as that. Judgment Day fell off. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Damian Priest is not a part of it. Mommy's not a part of it. Dom is the leader of it to a certain extent, along with Finn. But then Finn is now done, and it's now Dom. And be honest, Dom's not interesting enough. And it's not anything that Dom's fault. They have not given Dominic Mysterio anything to truly work with. They don't have to make a championship that doesn't mean anything. This is not meant to be an insult to him. It's an insult to, you want the Judgment Day to mean something, then book him like he means something. And he doesn't. He's had the IC title, which doesn't mean anything now. He's gone up against Finn Balor, but it doesn't mean anything. He could be pushed into main event status. Doesn't mean he has to win the main event, but at least he would be there and it would mean something. And they haven't done it. Now you're going to say, well, he's not experienced enough. He is experienced enough. He works well in the ring. He's over with the fans. But the problem is they don't want to put him there. They just let him have to make a championship of AAA. So Judgment Day is nothing. Then you look at the Bloodline. What are we really getting? As I said before, nothing. The only option the Bloodline storyline really had was to give the moniker of the Tribal Chief to somebody else other than Roman Reigns. It looked like it was going to be Jay, but they didn't want to do that. At one point, it almost looked like they wanted to give it to Jimmy. Not doing that. It's just stuck on Roman, that mark. And now you just let Jacob Fatu, who was so over with the fans, whether you booed him or cheered him, he was over. And now you made him a lackey to Roman Reigns. For what? To give him this possible Sami Zayn segment? The Sami Zayn treatment? The Sami Zayn rise? It's not the same. Sami was a very special moment. It was organic. This isn't organic. This feels very formulaic. As it was before. What, you're going to have another 2 or 3 years of the Bloodline? That's 8 to 9 years of the Bloodline storyline. It sucks. There's the reason why I don't review Raw. Or SmackDown for that reason. I review NXT. Now let's get to it. Let me give it to you like this. The bookings here were pretty good. They are leading to the Great American Bash, which is okay. Opening. Lizzie Rain versus Zarya. Now here's the thing. I didn't expect Rain to win here, even though I really like her. She has a very it's not just organic, it's energetic. She just exudes energy. Is it because she's a rocker? That she likes rock? No, it's not just that. It's more than that. There's something that she has the type of, taking it from Jaina Stone, a spark. Unlike Jaina Stone, yes, she can wrestle, but she's not the spark. You can easily say Lizzie is. She just has something. The match, I knew wasn't going to be the key here. It had to be something with Tatum. And look what happened. Near the end of the match, Tatum shows up and she messes with Zarya. And when Zarya won that match and Tatum came into the ring, because guess what happened? Lizzie was about to get her ass F5'd again. I don't remember the name of her finishing move. I'm just going to call it the F5 because it sounds better that way. I would love to see Zarya take the name of the F5 from Brock Lesnar and say the ultimate F5. He's nearing retirement. There's nothing wrong with taking the moniker of the F5 and turning it into ultimate F5. Let Brock come down to NXT, face her and say, you act like a badass. You use my move like I do. I want you to give them the ultimate F5. I would love to see Brock Lesnar do that for Zarya, to come down to NXT and give him the moniker of the F5. It would also be good if he gave her the Kimura, but there's only one other person who does a Kimura, and that one is Thea Hale. And unless she's left the company, which I don't see her leaving yet, she can't get it. The F5 would be the best for Zarya. Zarya gets what she wants. At the Great American Bash, we're getting the match between her and Tatum Paxley. I want to give it to you like this. Do I wish it was at a pay-per-view? Yes. A PLE on television? No, I don't want that. Unless it is, wait a minute, is it a PLE? No, it's not. It's a PLE on TV. That's what they said. It's not going to be it's not going to be like, you got to pay for it. You just watch it. Moving on. Dark State versus the Culling. Now, that was supposed to happen, but did not because Shugs attacked Cutler. So they changed it from Dark State and the Culling. I believe it was going to be... No, it wasn't going to be the Culling. What was the team that we're going up against originally? Hang on a minute. I got them mixed up. Let me see here. It was... I think I messed up somewhere. Because it was not Dark State versus... Yeah. Dark State... Oh yeah, sorry. I know what it was. I think the reason I got this confused was due to the fact that do I really feel like the story between Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne needed Dark State? No. That's the reason why I forgot it. Not that I forgot the match. But I feel like they shouldn't be even connected to each other. They shouldn't. But that's what we got. Basically, Dark State was going to go up against Bourne and Heights. I got that mixed up with the Culling. But it's OTM versus Culling. That was going to be later in the night. But here's the thing. The story is not about OTM. Even though when it comes to Price and Lima, I want to make it... Wait, is it Lima? I always seem to get... I think the reason I get OTM's names mixed up is because, yeah, they're over. They're getting over. And I'm glad they're getting over. But it feels like when it comes to OTM, they drag them along for so long that I feel irked about them. Because to be honest, and we're being honest here, they should have already moved to the main roster. The main roster needs tag teams. And I truly believe OTM should not be on NXT anymore. They should be moved. They should be gone. Price and Lima, I'm probably messing up the names, but they should not be on NXT anymore. They won the match, but this was not about them. This was about what's going on between Sean Spears and the rest of the Culling. And during that match, Sean Spears' ear popped. I think he might have got a perforated eardrum and he started bleeding from his ear. Because once he did that move against, who was it? I think it was Osiris. Yeah, I think it was Osiris who took the neck breaker once he nailed him. He just started bleeding from his ear. So he lost the match. And it just seems like the story of Culling about to break up because you're going to have Nico and Izzy Dane. They're done. They're done with Sean Spears. I feel like they're about to break them up as well, which I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised it's happening because it's long overdue at this point. What did we get from Izzy? Not much. Izzy Dane has not won. Look, she went up against Lola, lost. And she said before the match, I'm putting Lola on hold. No, she's not. She got her ass kicked by her. So again, like I said, what are we really getting for Izzy Dane except her jobbing as the biggest woman in NXT at this point? Physically one of the most biggest women they got. So all she's doing is jobbing. And it's kind of sad to see that because I like Izzy Dane. She has charisma. She has a good look. But they're just using her as a jobber. And I think it's not necessary for that. And since we're talking about this, let's do this now. What did I feel about Jada Parker and Natalya's segment in the back? I'm going to say this. Was it necessary for Jada Parker if she's dealing with Natalya? Yeah. Natalya has been around longer than anyone on the current roster right now. Other than the ones who come back, like Paige, like the Bellas. She's the longest running wrestler they have currently. I know Tamina will be along, but we haven't seen Tamina in quite a long time. So she's one of the longest ones there since 2010. Almost every other woman is gone. Either they're training others or they're gone. Or they just came back after being gone for a while. So it felt good to see that for Jada Parker because they are investing in her. But here's the thing, which upset me. Why has Natalya not been given the opportunity to go to NXT? She's gone to NWA. She's gone to AAA. Why hasn't she been allowed to go to TNA? Why? They let her go to every other place. Why not TNA? Why not let a Hart Legacy member, a Hart member, who's from the legacy of Stu Hart, Bret Hart, her dad, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Come on. That's the thing that upset me, that we could not get her on TNA, which I don't think we ever will. But that's just me. I'm moving on. The next match I want to talk about is Wilder versus Drake. I'm going to be honest here. You know who he reminds me of? The person I used to like, to a certain extent. Eddie Thorpe. I liked Eddie Thorpe. I thought Eddie Thorpe might be something, but in the end, he didn't really feel like anything. He had been given some level of push, but in the end, we got nothing from him. Now I look at Wilder, who really kind of reminds me of Eddie Thorpe. He looked like he could become something, but he's not. Not because of the booking. It's just something about him just doesn't feel like he's going to get anywhere. Because I don't think NXT is really going to make anything out of him. I'm being honest here. I'm not saying he couldn't become something. It just feels like NXT will not do anything with him. He's another high flyer who they're booking as someone who has this, who is pretty much a adrenaline jock. Well, do I really like adrenaline junkies and stuff like that? No, not all the time in wrestling, because there's more than a few of them. People who love excitement, who love to just jump all over the place and just want adrenaline, doesn't mean they make great storytelling. And that's what I'm getting from Wilder. It's not because his style is bad. It's just that they just want to use him for spots. And it's obvious. That's the way they're working with him. Now, in this story for him, he just can't get a win because he's over-enthusiastic, that he cares so much about getting that rush, getting his spot in, that he's not going to get anywhere. And look what happened. You got what is this guy's name? EK. I think EK was trying to defend him against Carver, and now they're going to have a match next week for your boy. EK is going to try and defend his boy who is acting foolish, who has been told, not just by EK, but everyone else, you need to slow down at least a little bit so you can get it done correctly, more than just getting it jumping all over the place like a nut. I don't know if I'm interested in this story. I just don't. But this is just me, you guys, tell me below. Next, Speed Championship. Romeo versus Lexis King. Now, I want to make this clear. Don't care about the Speed title. I just don't. I don't. I'd rather see Lexis King hold the North American Championship more than just holding and wearing the Speed title. Particularly after he won the match, and it was okay 5-minute match. They increased it from 3 to 5. But liking him kissing that damn title like it's a major title when it's not even close, that kind of upset me. Not because I couldn't do it. Give me Ariana Grace, I'll kiss her. Sorry. But you get my point. What do I want to see? Do I want to see Lexis King kiss a undercard, super undercard title? No, worse, an undercard title? Or do I want to see him be kissing a North American Championship or World title? Yeah, that's what I want. I want the North American Championship or the World Championship to be kissed like that. Then it would feel like it's an important thing he's doing. Showing how vain he is, that he wants to prove that he can get it. That he will get that type of thing that he can kiss like crazy. That's what it feels like it should be. And when it comes to let me give it to you like this. This might be the only real faction WWE really has at this point. The Birthright, if they build it right, when they come to the main roster, could actually get over. Counting on to keep getting right people in it, because I don't expect Stax to stay in it long. I don't think Ariana Grace is going to stay in it long. They will get some other people who have been in there. Of course, Charlie's going to probably stay in there, and Lexis King is going to stay in there. I know that. Connor, I don't know. Maybe. But I know they're going to need to get somebody else who has a legacy of at least being a first or second generation or third. That's just me, you guys. Tell me below. Okay, let me flip this over. Let me give it to you like this. Did I care about Dark State going against Tavion Heights and Bourne? No. Those two stories, like I said earlier, they just don't feel like they should be even in the same space together. Because Dark State has to deal with Shugs. And Tavion Heights, he's getting resentful of Miles. It's just obvious. He's getting resentful, and it's only a matter of time he's going to go after Miles and take his head off. It is only a matter of time. Miles will probably give him a title shot, which he's getting a match next week. But it's not going to be enough for Tavion. He's going to get pissed off. And when he loses, he's going to take the head off of Miles. That is what I'm caring about. And when it comes to Shug just took out Cutler. Cutler got nailed with a bat. And that's the reason why it was switched between Dion Lennox and Cutler. That was the only way they could do the match. And in the end, Dark State won it. But do I really care? No. I just don't. I care about the individual stories. I just wish they didn't have this match here. I just don't think it's necessary. You got two prominent stories here, whether they're great or not. It doesn't matter. It's what NXT is producing. And they could have done this in other matches with other groups. You could have had Hank and Tank deal with either one of these, and it would have been better. Because then you don't have to worry about one of them having a lose here. Because if you want to keep Dark State as a tag team and strong, yes, of course they won. But if you want to do something with Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne, you could have used Hank and Tank. That's what I feel should have happened. But this is just me. And the final match. Wait, let's talk about. Almost forgot. Not yet. What did I feel about the segment between Lola, Jordan, Gray? What do I feel about that? And Lola Vice taking the head off of Kendall Gray. It was necessary. It was necessary. But here's the thing for me. Keanu Jordan should be already going to the main roster. I'm sorry. I'm saying this right now. You may be fine with her still being on NXT. It makes no sense for her not to be on the main roster now. She should have already been called up. She should have. And she's not. And for me personally, I feel like she's not necessary for NXT, not because she's doing a bad job. No. It feels like she should have already been moved up because she's ready. She may not be the perfect talker, but no one is. She goes well in the ring, and she's reworked most of her style that, yes, she still does gymnastics, but she's put in a lot more work on submission and a little bit more grapple, which I kind of wish that Soruka did a little bit more, like I talked about. Hell, Soruka, she did okay in a match, but when she was on, Clash in Italy, she had to literally be thrown up onto the second turnrope to do the Soul Snatcher. Because every time she's done it lately, she's botched it. And I know JD and Alex have not either paid attention to it or just don't really care. But if you're going to be fair about it, if you got to do that when more than one attempt of your actual move has been so sloppy that you either fell and hurt yourself or fell and made yourself look bad, if it had to come to someone having to throw you onto the rope, that's not good. But for me personally, the story seemed to be alright between all three of these women. Kendall is now going to be dealing with Kiani, who wins. They will get the number one contender shot at, well, I really do wish this was a PLE instead of on television. Well, once in a while you can give it away, but I don't think this is the right time. But this is just me. Let me see. What else are we going to talk about here? That's it. Let's just talk about the final match. Ken Hendricks versus Tony D. And Rook was told, one, don't go to the ring, which he did. Don't interfere in the match, which he didn't do that, but he did keep Hendricks from grabbing a chair. And you'll get your match against, who was, Hanaku. What is the guy's name? Netaku, I believe. I'm forgetting his name. I hadn't been remembering it. Guys, my allergies have been kicking my ass. I've been sneezing so much, or want to sneeze so much, my head hurts, and I've been forgetting. It happens in this time of year. Pollen's this big in my area. Do you see how big this is? You see how wide my finger is? That is how big it is. And if you in an apartment or you walk, it's going in your damn face. And I've walked through it twice now. Taking me days just to get okay now. My eyes were bloodshot. But that's the reason why I'm forgetting Nadaku. I believe his name is Nadaku. But it was alright. The match was fine. Hendricks did well. Tony did alright. Seeing that these two guys were facing each other. And now you're going to see Nadaku versus Rook next week to see who's going to get the next shot. It's alright. But to be honest, and I'm going to be honest, even though it seems alright because that's a proper booking for two guys that seem to have some type of momentum, here's the problem. They're both fucking new. And NXT likes to put people who have just been brought in, who are brand new, in these situations where they go after a title immediately. And I don't find that right. Now, the booking for them is fine, but the principle of bringing in two guys that they can get a number one contendership shot, when neither one of them should be losing right now. Rook has barely wrestled. Nadaku has basically wrestled at least once so far. And maybe last week another one. I don't know. I was sick. I didn't watch NXT. Maybe he had a second match. But I'm telling you right now, putting these two guys in this situation this early, I hate it. I don't like it. Now the booking, if they weren't like that, is fine. One-on-one booking. I hate it. But this is just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.